All right, let's go to our reporter Mzwandile Mbeje, who's standing by in Parktown where the proceedings have been taking place. He has been there the whole day following these proceedings for us. Mzwandile, some damning testimony coming out there, I suppose, anticipated details of the meeting, particularly the meeting in China and in Saxonville. But just briefly take us through some of the highlights of Vytjie Mentor's testimony today.
Thank you, Alicia. Indeed, some interesting facts, or rather information, that is coming out here from the main witness of the day, Vytjie Mentor, who had to leave because there's still so much that needs to be done. So what they did, the evidence leaders, was to say maybe they need to give her an opportunity to go and also peruse some of the information that had just come to her. But coming to your question, indeed, we've just heard her say she came to the Saxon world where she met the Gupta family members, and that's where she says she was offered the position of minister in the event she agreed to facilitate the cancellation of the SA route between Johannesburg and Mumbai. So that was supposed then to benefit Jet Airways, that's an Indian airline. So those issues are still being dealt with, so there's no conclusion yet to it, because as you heard, the evidence leaders are saying, so there's still much more that needs to be done in terms of ventilating this issue. Going to the meetings that she says she had in India, where President Zuma then had gone to India for a state visit, and then as chairperson of the Parliamentary Committee on Public Enterprise, so she was also supposed to be there. And then she says, after meeting the Gupta family members through to Duzane on the flight to Dubai, so when she was in China, she also met some of those people who then made the very interesting situation, Alicia. She said because she had become a bit uncomfortable with the nature of the engagement that she had witnessed or she had observed. She says in some of the engagements that were ongoing, she felt like because perhaps she was not cooperative enough, she felt like she was being isolated. So when it was time for the gala dinner, and then she decided that, well, she was going to rest and not going to go to the dinner. But when she was in her room, and then she got a call from someone who she said was probably one of the Guptas, inviting her to go to where President Jacob Zuma was before the gala dinner. But she says she declined that offer because she had become uncomfortable. So in her words, she says she was not going to go to someone who she describes as a man with a reputation for women. So basically, those are some of the issues that she has spoken about, Vytjie Mentor. But that hasn't ended there, Alicia. She has been talking really about the nature and how she has encountered various stages of what she says are members of the Gupta family. But of course, all these issues will be thoroughly dealt with. As you know, in the process, they are implicating a number of people.
Absolutely. Mzwandile, speaking of that now, of course, about the applications now for the implicated persons to actually cross-examine the witnesses. We heard there's actually a list of these implicated persons that have applied for that right. Do you know who's on that list?
Absolutely, Alicia. At this stage, I think we have about 4 people who have applied. This is as a result of some of them being implicated in the testimony of the former Deputy Minister of Finance, Mcebisi Jonas, last week. And this morning, Vytjie Mentor herself implicated some of the people, and then those people have also applied. I can just mention that the former Chief Operations Officer in the Office of the President, rather in the presidency, Ms. Lakela Kaunda, was implicated by Vytjie Mentor. She basically said she is the person who gave her a call to arrange for a meeting with the then president. So we understand that Ms. Kaunda is disputing this, and as a result, she has put in an application where she will be afforded an opportunity really to state the side of the story. And interestingly, with regards to whoever wants to cross-examine Alicia, is that it's obviously not an automatic situation where you get implicated and then you have a right to cross-examine. But what happens is that you have to apply to the chairperson, and then they would look at the application and then decide based on that. But what is coming out now from the legal team of the commission is that they also want to be able then to cross-examine those people who would have cross-examined witnesses, because in their view, they can't just come and cross-examine people who implicated them. So they want their version as well to be tested. So that is the responsibility currently of the chairperson and the legal team that they will be seized with in terms of deciding, so how will this process go about? And then the member of the Hawks as well, so was implicated by the former Deputy Minister of Finance. So she also has put in an application. And of course, we expect that as the proceedings continue, Alicia, many more people who get implicated will want to put their side of the story. But of course, putting your side of the story does not necessarily mean it's a free pass. So you may put your side of the story, but also the legal team also wants to be able to really ask certain questions about you. When you look particularly at the matter of Ms. Kaunda and Ms. Mentor, basically Ms. Kaunda disputes ever having contacted or spoken to Ms. Mentor in 2010. So you can see the legal teams really will have a lot in their hands in trying to really find out who's telling the truth and who's not telling the truth. And that will assist the chairperson of the commission to be then able to arrive at a decision that will satisfy, I guess, everyone.
All right, Mzwandile, I guess we'll keep track of the developments there tomorrow as Vytjie Mentor continues with some of her evidence that she still needs to submit to the commission. And of course, those applications, as we heard earlier from Justice Zondo, those applications will be dealt with tomorrow in relation to that cross-examination of witnesses and evidence givers.